All right. So, I appreciate you being
what's
open.
your first name again?
Brandon. My name's Brandon.
Oh,
Yep.
that's easier to remember.
Yeah. I appreciate you wanting to talk about veganism. Do you want to start by introducing yourself?
See your video on this, right?
Oh yeah.
How you doing? John Finley. Work at Sullivan Brothers Toyota in Kingston. I've been living in Plymouth since I was 3 years old, and I'm doing this interview with this guy because he's cool. I mean, what else can I say? A guy. Now we got this guy blasting the radio.
That's
I mean,
all right. Should be fine with the microphone.
you want me to go tell him to calm it down a little?
That's all right. But thank you. I appreciate the compliment. So we were talking a little bit before the cameras turned before we turned the cameras on.
Yeah.
And so I guess what we talked about so far is
No, I can't.
You know,
I can't listen to this. This is too loud. Is that the motorcycle?
I think it's a motorcycle.
Oh shit. Or is this? It's not this kid in the car right here?
I don't think
Because
so.
we're not even gonna hear each other talk.
No, you'll hear it. You'll hear it. I mean, we might.
All right, wait till he drives away.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, all right.
All right. So yeah, so I guess what we discussed so far is kind of what I'm doing, my kind of message, you know, why I'm out here. So
Yeah.
I guess you did mention that you were an animal lover, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but I'm assuming you're not vegan, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So, if you are an animal lover, do you think that it's possible to love something or love a sentient animal, but still pay for them to be killed?
Well, that's a good question. My thought process is like I can understand, like I'm just like, what about like cows? Cows just, if we don't kill cows, they just produce. Because I love milk. You can't have. You were talking Oreos cookies, right? I can have Oreo cookies without milk. So I mean, can we? You know, is there some type of line that you cross? Like, is it okay to milk cows for the milk, but not kill them for the?
Good question. Good question.
All
So,
right.
because what you're dividing the line between is veganism and vegetarianism, right? Vegetarians don't eat any meat, but they eat eggs and they drink milk, right?
Okay.
The
so
reason
isn't that cool though?
no, and I'll explain why. Yeah, I'll explain
yeah,
why.
your chickens are just laying eggs.
No,
and the
no, no.
cows are just.
I wish you were that simple, but it's
All
not.
right,
So the
all
reason
right.
why I draw the line at veganism is because for cows to produce milk, just like adult humans, they have to have a baby, right? So what we have to do, right, and keep in mind we're producing milk on a very large scale, right? So we have to forcibly impregnate these female cows.
Okay.
And then when they give birth to the baby, that milk is meant for that baby. But what do, right? Baby can't drink the milk because we gotta drink the milk, right? So we gotta tear the baby away from the mother, and we either raise the baby and kill it for veal, or we put it back in the dairy industry and it starts to cycle over again. And then meanwhile, we're milking the cows on machines. They're in pain. Not to mention we genetically modify them to produce milk.
Yeah, no, I
You
get
know,
you.
it's-
Okay, I got.
you hear what I'm
going
saying?
with
So
that.
that's why that's wrong. Same thing
That's
with
getting deep.
yeah, but that's the industry that.
If you're gonna,
Yeah, same thing with eggs, right? So with eggs,
Yeah.
in order for hens, chickens, they don't produce I think they normally produce 10 eggs a month or something like that, something small. They produce eggs at a significantly larger, higher rate than they would naturally, right? So we genetically modify them to do that. And what happens is, so eggs are chicken periods, right? So woman has a period, that's what an unfertilized egg is to a chicken. So in order to produce that many eggs, they have to strip themselves of nutrients, right? They can't absorb nutrients well, which causes them immense pain and gives them conditions like osteoporosis. So a lot of chickens, with the undercover research that they do, they'll have broken bones just standing there.
Okay, so I understand where you're going. Like, I just think vegan's a little over the top. I understand that vegetarians and all that, but when you start vegan, I think goes a little over the top. I respect your decision, but you know, I mean, you go back, you know, to maybe 500 years where people have survived on. I'm not going to say survival of the fittest or anything like that, but people have survived on eggs and milk and people, you know, a lot of people don't kill their cows just for, and I know, back in the day, now it's because of the population. They got them on machines, and it's a fucking, yeah, they probably are fucking, sorry, they probably are suffering a little bit on a machine. But I think it's the way we grew up. Sure. Milk, egg, a lot of, growing up, everybody, oh, you're a meat and potatoes guy, blah, blah, blah. And then I think it has a lot to do with history, just the way you were grown. It's going to be very tough for you to do what you're doing and explain to people because, and you're well-knowledged, obviously, you know what you're talking about just from talking to you, but me tough.
No, so like what I had...
So what is your goal? Is your goal to just say, hey, this is,
Yeah, so I had someone else who I talked to call it an uphill battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while, like, that might be true, we are I think there's not even 1% of the population is vegan, and there are a lot of people to talk to and a lot of minds to change. When there is an injustice happening, it's still imperative that we do share education, and if you're able to, right, all you have to be is vegan, that's enough. But if you have the means and you have the knowledge, you should go out there and try and talk to people and try and educate people on the moral atrocity that they are contributing to, right?
Yeah.
And when we talked about you said veganism's a little over the top, but being an animal lover, right, what I described about the dairy, the eggs, would you want to support that? Do you think it's ethical to support that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dairy and eggs, I think it's obviously... I'm an animal lover, but humans come first. Sure. They're put on this earth, I believe, to provide, obviously, food. Excuse me. Food for humans. If you didn't, you know how many chickens there would be if you didn't,
Glad you brought it there. I'm glad you brought it there, John.
It's crazy. It's just, and you have we can talk about it all day, but
right.
You can almost say that those animals are there to feed humans, to keep So go ahead, yeah?
Yeah, so I was hoping you'd bring it...
It's not going to keep humans alive.
No.
All right, go ahead,
I was hoping you'd bring it there, right? Because two things, right? Number one, animal products, and I gave you a card, the best peer-reviewed research, you don't need animal products to live, right? To sustain yourself.
Yeah,
so
true.
We don't need animal products, but you said that they're here to feed us, and if we didn't kill them, there'd be a bunch of them. So how you get the animal products you're eating is we have to breed them. So they're not wild animals. We actually artificially breed billions of them into existence.
Now we do.
Now we do, right.
If we go back a couple hundred years.
Sure, but we're talking about now, right? So if we're looking now, right, because a couple of hundred years ago, there was women can vote, there was slavery, there was a lot of horrible things, right? So if we're talking about now, we breed them, right? So they're not natural. If we decrease the breeding, if we stop breeding.
Right, steroids and all that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We drug them, we genetically modify them.
Bullshit, right.
Right, exactly. So, I guess... Oh, go ahead.
Now, let me ask you a question. What about fish?
So, in terms of fish, same type of thing. So, fish are...
Not to interrupt, but fish feed millions of people around the world. And I've always said to myself, it's my theory, that I always say someday we're going to run out of food. Okay, so just like Biden's doing right now, we have more natural resources in this country than probably any other country in the world. But whatever, everybody's turning. It's all about government and money. You know what I mean? But fish feed millions of people.
So
I think the Chinese or the Japanese,
Japanese, bigger fish.
It's just, they survive on it.
So it's funny that you brought up fish and how it feeds millions of people, and you mentioned running out of food. Actually, the fish population is one of the biggest populations that are being depleted the fastest because of the overfishing. So we overfish like crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And the statistics show that by, in very short amount of time, relatively speaking, we're going to run out of fish, right? We have to either breed more or start. And there's a lot of fish that are farmed. Forget about wild fish. There's a lot of fish farms where we do the same thing. Right. So, but to ask what's wrong with that, I would say that fish are sentient, just like cows, chickens, pigs, dogs, humans. They're sentient. That means they can feel things, they can experience things, they can feel joy and pain, etc. So, in that regard, right, that's why it's still immoral to kill fish, right? And I would argue, we could argue about remote areas like the Eskimos or like islands in Japan, right? But we're talking about America, where there's a market basket on every corner. You know, when you could go in buy rice and beans or fish, you know.
Good point, yeah. So I mean, what was I gonna say? So would you consider wheat, like cereal, like wheat is? Tell me your top. If I was to go like right now, let's say I started tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm gonna listen to Brandon, right? I'm gonna listen to Brandon. I'm going vegan. Now, if I started tomorrow being vegan, what could I eat during the course of the day? I mean, you don't have to give me a whole menu, but
sure.
Like what do you like to eat?
Yeah. So what I always recommend people is to think of one meal and make it vegan, right? Okay. So like, let's say for lunch, you normally eat broccoli, potatoes, and steak, right?
Wait. How is broccoli not involved?
What do you mean? No. I'm saying broccoli. Broccoli, potatoes, and steak,
broccoli,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying
potatoes is okay.
Potatoes okay. I'm talking about the steak. Talking about the steak, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that's what you eat for lunch. So instead of broccoli, potatoes, and steak, you eat broccoli, potatoes, and baked beans. You eat broccoli, potatoes, and spiced chickpeas. You eat broccoli, potato, and
I love baked beans.
And fried tofu, right? You can take a tofu.
What about toast? Is toast good?
Like bread, yeah. As long as it's vegan bread, yeah. Most breads are vegan, usually. And pastas, most pastas are vegan.
Really?
Rice, oh yeah. So once you eliminate the animal products, you start to realize how many foods you've been missing out on, and also how many foods you could actually eat. There's an endless amount of food in the grocery store for me to eat.
Yeah.
Vegan food is.
Why do people say there's these nutrients that people aren't getting? Because I see a lot of people that are vegan that are really fucking skinny.
Sure.
And they almost look like back, in POWs in Germany, or whatever you call Auschwitz.
Yeah.
They almost looked at, the Jewish population, it's like really, really skinny.
Yeah. So that's a great question, and I would say that when you see vegans that are either doing poorly, it's not the vegan diet, it's how they're doing the vegan diet. Just like most of, 99% of the world.
When you say poorly, what does that mean? Because you don't look like that.
I'll clarify, yeah. But I was going to say, we need to separate how people eat versus what they're eating, right? Because 99% of the world eats meat, but the majority of people are sick, right? Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, right? So, and people don't look at them, right, and say, wow, it must be what even though we should, right?
Yeah,
but it's what are they eating? How are they eating, right? So with veganism, when you see somebody who's underweight, most likely they either are struggling with eating, so they might have an underlying eating disorder. Mm-hmm. Maybe they are taking the meat out for ethical reasons, but they're not educated enough to swap in enough protein, enough fat, etc., right? So it really comes down.
But then hold on. The fish thing. Yeah. They say there's a lot of fish is really, really good for you, for your health. There's all kinds of scientists that say you gotta have fish. You eat salmon, this and that. And it's supposed to be good for the heart, good for the.
So what you're talking about are omega-3 fatty acids. Now, omega-3 fatty acids you can get from plant-based sources, right? They are found in seeds like flax seeds, chia seeds. Yeah. They're found in nuts like walnuts. You could also get them from algae or an algae-based supplement, right? Because that's where the fish get it from. Mm-hmm. So you can get that from plant-based sources with all the fiber and the protein. What you don't get from plant-based sources that you get from fish are heavy metals. So you know how they say don't eat too much tuna, don't eat too much salmon, because of the mercury content. So heavy metals fish are polluted with heavy metals.
Now, question for you.
Sure.
If you are a vegan, is there vitamins that you recommend taking?
So
are they plant-based vitamins?
They are, of course.
From an animal. I mean.
No. So I recommend everyone, whether you're vegan or not, to take a multivitamin.
Yeah,
but
like a one-a-day type thing?
Yeah. Okay.
But
when it comes to the vitamins I get, yes, they're all vegan. The omega-3s that are in there are from algae. There's no gelatin. They're all vegan. But the nutrition, like I said with that card, there is endless amounts of research and data and support for vegan nutrition, right? If you think about it, we've been educated all our lives on how to eat meat and vegetables, right? Vegan education is so new that you really have to seek it out.
Like less than 1%?
Yeah, about less than 1%. More people are vegetarian, but when it comes to vegans,
Yeah,
it's
there's a
very,
lot of vegetarians.
yeah, it's
I
very
mean,
small.
halfway there, I guess. I mean,
We're getting there, but that's
no,
the
I
goal,
mean, if
you know?
so how many vegetarians compared, like, probably 10 times more vegetarians?
Probably, yeah. If I had to guess, probably a larger amount. But again, I would argue, so back to the moral standpoint, right? Because in nutrition, I mean, I could talk that all day with you and I could show you graphs, but with the moral thing, right, I would argue, like myself, if we are both animal lovers, right, if you couldn't kill it yourself, right, I would argue, why pay for someone else to kill them by the billions, you know, why contribute to it when you don't have to? Plus, your health would probably benefit from avoiding these animal products.
I think a lot of it comes about the muddy dollar. You know, you can grow these cows and stick them in, and next thing you know, you go to the East Bay Grill and get a great fat burger, and you can feed. I believe that it's just an easier fix. It's a quicker fix. You can feed a bunch of fucking people by just giving them meat. You know what I mean? Hey, there you go. You know, fish, same thing.
Sure.
If you combine meat and fish, and there's 10 million people in the world, 8 million of them eat meat. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought up that. So
I believe that it's a way to provide nutrition and food. I mean, for you to do what you're trying to do is going to take a massive amount of. It's almost impossible because it's been going on for so many years, bro.
So it might seem impossible from like an indoctrination standpoint, where people are so used to what they're used to and they don't want to change. Right. But you brought up efficiency, right? Actually, it's funny that you brought that up. Meat is significantly more inefficient to produce. So think about it, right? When you, let's say, right, I forgot the number, but it's, let's say 10 billion, right? We slaughter more animals every year than there are people on the earth, right? So 10 billion animals.
So I always say, how do we not run out of chicken?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So there's 10 billion animals that let's just say, that's not the exact number, but let's say, in order to even raise those animals to 18 months, which is when cows are slaughtered, even to raise those animals 18 months, we have to feed them, right? So I believe it's over 70% of
all that food that they're eating, we could be eating.
Exactly.
Right?
Or not exactly that food, but we can repurpose the land and grow food to feed us. So over 70% of the crops that we grow are fed to livestock. Specifically, I think that's also specifically for soy.
Now, off the beaten subject, what do you think about these scientists that are making the veggie burgers and that?
Like the lab-grown meat?
Yeah.
I would say that I personally...
I've seen that. It's kind of interesting.
It's interesting. I personally I have no interest in eating meat, but if somebody, like, as long as it's vegan, right, and that they'll determine that, I encourage people to switch. If that's what you need to switch, please, by all means, eat the lab-grown meat once it becomes
that's kind of an interesting.
Crazy, right? But
it says it takes so long and all that. It's just like electric cars. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, we're at the start. It should get there, but whether we'll get there in time or not, that's a different story. But
well, I just want to say I like this guy. He knows his stuff. So good luck.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna try to catch a nice fish now.
All right. Well, look,
I just throw them back. I only practice.
Okay, all right, well that's better, but I would encourage you, start with one meal. I gave you a card, look at the resources. You could show your wife too. Start with one meal, and then if you like it, keep it going.
What would you have for breakfast tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm having a nice bowl of cereal with some flax seeds for the extra fatty acids.
What are you putting in the
soy milk, high in protein.
Soy milk's okay, because my wife and my daughter are big like this. I mean, not complete vegans, but she researches everything. So soy milk is okay.
Soy milk's okay. It's high in protein.
I could have any type of cereal, like Life cereal. What about Life cereal?
It's funny you mentioned that. Quaker Life's vegan. Cereal. Quaker Life is vegan. Yep, absolutely.
So I could have a Life cereal, a banana.
Yep.
Some soy milk. Yep. Start my breakfast.
You want to put some berries, some peanut butter in that? Absolutely.
All right. So what? Now, what about bread?
Most breads are vegan. Yeah, you'd have to check, but most breads are vegan.
I get the bread from God damn, it's good. What's that place that makes the sandwiches? It's almost like a takeout. The bread's so good. Wow. Okay. So all right.
So I encourage you to start with one meal, check out the resources, and if you see me around, say hello. All right.
Good luck.
Nice talking to you.